Okay. Okay. Ready? Tov. Yeah. Okay, we're here on Daf Kuft. Good morning, Kuftet Vav Amud Bet 115b. 3 lines from the top, 4 lines from the top. Tanu Rabbanan. Rabbanan taught. Okay, Abrachot v'Hakmein. Brachot is Shmona Esrei. Kemein are, the amulets. Many times there were psukim written in them. Even though they contain a lot of the letters of Hashem's name, and they have many different inyanot, topics of the Torah written in them. You can't save them from a fire on Shabbat. You have to let them burn. They, ve'azkaroten, and the names of Hashem. They're mentionings of Hashem. Mikan amru, from here they said, Kotvei brachot kisarfei Torah. Those who write down brachot are like people who are burning the Torah, because if a fire breaks out, what's going to happen? You're not allowed to save them. So by you writing these things down, you're jeopardizing their sanctity in case of a fire. There's a story, Shaya Kotev b'Tzaidan. He was writing down the brachot of Shemona Esrei in Tzaidan. Parvodi Rabbi Shmuel. They told Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Shmuel went to check him out, inspect what was going on. When Rabbi Shmuel was going up on the ladder towards the person's house, Higishbo, the man became sensitive. He sensed that Rabbi Shmuel was there. Natal tumus shel brachot v'shikam b'sefer shel ma'ayim. He took a whole pamphlet of the brachot that he already wrote, and he dunked them into a bowl of water. And Rabbi Shmuel told him the following language. What you just did now, the greater is the punishment of the last thing that you did, the first thing. The first thing you did was an Isur to write. Because, why is there an Isur to write? So the Isur to write is going to be a fire. But there's another Isur also. The other Isur is... Yeah. So... There's another Isser here. The Isser is to write down psukim before they made a heter to write down Torah Sheba'al Peh. So, what I think is going on is that the Isser to write them down initially, because they're not going to be able to be saved, is only together with the fact that you're not allowed to write them down at all, because it's Torah Sheba'al Peh. So he's telling him, but ruining them with your hands is for sure worse, whatever the Isser of writing them down is. So till now we had a machloket of Rav Huna and Rav Chizda yesterday. If you're allowed to save Nevi'im and Ktuvim if they're written in a different language. That was yesterday's daf. We had Machloket Rav Huna Rav Chisda. Now the Gemara wants to know, let's say you wrote them in Lashon HaKodesh, but you wrote them with maybe less Kedusha because they were written with ink that is going to, it's not such good ink. And therefore, its Kedusha is less, so maybe you don't have to save them. If they're written with Sam is like paint, Sikr is red, Kumus is the gum, Kankantum is the copper, sulfate, Lashon HaKodesh. Are you allowed to save them or not? So the Gemara says like this, Tiboy l'madom matzilin, Tiboy l'madom matzilin. You can ask the question according to both shittas. According to Rav Huna and Rav Chisda, they had machloket yesterday if you're allowed to save or not save the translations. So you can ask this question according to each side. Meaning, whatever you said there, you might say the opposite over here. Why? Over there, you know why? You're not allowed to save it because you wrote them in Targum or any other language. But here that you wrote them in Lashon HaKodesh, of course you could save them, perhaps. And on the other hand, that's only why. Why does he say that you are allowed to save them? Because they're going to stay intact. It's going to last. But here, since you wrote it, and even though you wrote it in Lashon HaKodesh, since it's not going to end up lasting, so maybe it's not such a great disgrace, because it's not considered so holy, since anyways, it's only a matter of time that it's going to dissipate and not be here anyways. So he told him back, the person that asked him the Shaila, Rabbi Rav Huna said to him, Ei matzilin. Rabbi Rav Huna, when he was asked the Shaila, told him, Ei matzilin. You can't save them. Which means, even it sounds like he's telling him, even according to the Man Omer that said matzilin, but here, Ein matzilin, because they don't have so much kedusha. So then he told him back, the Reish Galusa asked Rabbi Rav Huna, the head of the diaspora, he already had a braita, he was already loaded. He took out his braita. He already knew the answer. So why did he ask him? Because he thought maybe he'll tell him the braita is nothing. So he says, there's a braita. But Rav Amnuna taught a braita that says you're allowed to say them. Tanya. He says the braita that I'm wrong. My Tanya, what's the braita? Omer Avashik the Tanya, like the following braita. Ein bein Svarim Megillah. There's no difference between Svarim of Ktuvim or Megillat Esther. What's the only difference between Megillat Esther and all Svarim? Ela she'asvarim nichtavim b'chol lashon. The Megillah has to be written Ashurit. Ashurit is the script that we use today, right? Ala Sefer on cloth, ubidyo, and with real ink. Okay, the black ink. So now you see that all the other Svarim of Ktuvim and Nevi'im don't have to be written with diyo. Their Svarim, even if they're written with Sam, Sikra, Kankantoim, all the other things that we just, or Kumus, Kankantoim. So therefore you see clearly that they have the Kedusha, they're considered Svarim, even not written with diyo. And therefore, you're allowed to save them in case of a fight. They have that Kedusha. again, now why do you need so many redeeming qualities to be able to be saved from a fire? So there's two things we're going to see soon, Be'ezrat Hashem, that the Chacham didn't let you save everything. Okay? And also, when we say you're allowed to save, you're allowed to even bring it into a mavoi without an eruv. So you're really being over an Issa de Rabbanan, and they gave a special heter to Svarim to be saved, even when you're going to be over this Issa de Rabbanan. Okay? To save the Kedusha. That's what we're really dealing with over here. We'll see at the end, B'ezrat Hashem. So the Gemara says like this: Ba'omenei Rav Huna bar Cholov me'Rav Nachman. Rav Huna bar Chaluv. How often do we have him in the Gemara? Not often. So it's a big zchut. Ba'omenei Rav Huna bar Chaluv me'Rav Nachman. Sefer Torah she'emer lelaket 85 otiyot. Okay? You have a Sefer Torah, and throughout the whole Sefer Torah, everything's erased. So how much is left? So it says you don't even have 85 letters left. Okay? Kigon, what's so significant about 85 letters? Excuse me. Kigon Parashat Vahi ben Zoharon, which is as much as the Parasha of Vahi ben Zoharon. Matzilin otam b'pidat leka or in matzilin. May you save it or not. Okay? So now, why would that be the number? The answer is that we're going to see soon that Rebbe's Shita is going to be that it's Machlokes Tanoim, that Vayi ben Zoharon, that just that alone, in between the two nuns that we're going to learn about very soon, all that is a sefer by itself, a whole sefer. So therefore, meaning everything in Bamidbar until the first nun is one sefer, is the fourth sefer of the Torah. Vayi ben Zoharon is its own sefer, that's the fifth. Everything after the second nun, after Vayi ben Zoharon, till the end of Bamidbar, from that point of Bahalotcha till the end of Matot Maseh, is the sixth, and Dvarim is the seventh. There are 7 books of Moses. And the 5 books of Moses, we call it Chumash. What's Chumash? Chomesh, a fifth. Because the Chamisha, Chumshe Torah, 5/5. But it's really Shvi'it. Pass me a Shvi'it. A Shvi'it, a 7th. Shvi'it. Shiva Shvi'it Shel Torah. That's what it should be called. So, according to Rebbe. So therefore, we see that the smallest sefer written is a sefer of 85 letters. So what happens if you have a Sefer Torah which had all the Kedushat Sefer Torah, but now everything got erased, for whatever reason, and you count up and there are some letters left, but it's less than 85. So you don't even have the amount of Kedusha that is beheld, that lies inside one Sefer, the smallest Sefer. So therefore, maybe you can't save it on Shabbat. Now, there's no shaila that needs geniza. Because we learned yesterday, that even the rekek, even the dust of the decaying svarim need to be put away. But the question is, are you allowed to save it from a fire on Shabbat and be over on these Isuri de Rabbanon or not? So he said, so why don't you ask the same question about Vahi ben Zoharon? Why are you asking about the whole Torah if there's 84 letters? Why don't you say, you have Vahi ben Zoharon, the whole parsha, and you're missing one letter of Vahi ben Zoharon, so you have 84 letters. Could you save it? So he told him back, so Rav Huna bar Chaluv told him, the kima de ispeas karois, afagav de led be 85 otiyot. Matzilin. If I have Vahi ben Zoharon and all I'm missing is one letter, I have no question. Why? Because What do you have in Vayim Aaron? You have the name of Hashem. Vayim Aaron, Vayim Moshe, Kuma Hashem. Uvnucho Yomar, Shuvah Hashem, twice it says Hashem in that parsha. Okay? So therefore, there's no question that you could save it, even if it's missing a letter of the 84, because I could save it because of the names of Hashem. What I want to know is if you have 84 letters scattered through the Torah that don't have the name of Hashem, but they have Kedusha Sefer Torah, but they're lacking the amount of a whole Sefer. Is that enough to be saved? And they don't have the name of Hashem, and they don't have the amount of a Sefer, of a Chumash, of a Shvi'it, right? Of a Sefer. That's my question. Sefer Torah she'ein b'delakeh, kika mi'ba'ilei Sefer Torah she'ein b'delakeh. I want to know about a Sefer Torah. You can't gather 85 letters. My Omalei, Rav Nachman told him, Ei matzilin. Can't save it. So the Gemara says, Eitavei. So he asked him a kasha on his answer. There's a braita that says, Targum shektavo mikra. If you wrote the Targum of a pasuk in Lashon HaKodesh, which means, now what do you mean? You wrote them in Lashon HaKodesh, that means you wrote them back in what says in the, no. We're talking about a part of the Torah, or of the Nevi'im or Ketuvim, that is written in Aramaic. You know, Daniel is written a lot of Aramaic, right? In the Torah, we only have 2 words. You know that in the Torah there are 2 words in Parashat Vayetze that are written in Aramaic. That Lavan called it, Yaakov called it Gal Eid, the pile that will be a testimony that we make a peace treaty between him and Lavan. And Lavan called it Yigar Sahaduta. That's Targum. That's Aramaic. That's what Lavan called it. He was from the Aramean, right? Lavan Ho'arami. So the Torah says what he called it. There's a lot of secrets there, a lot of Torah over there. What's going on? But okay, that's not for now. Right now we know that it says Yigar Sahaduta. So you go ahead and you write it in Lashon HaKodesh. Lavan Karloi Galed. Okay? Or any other psukim in Daniel and all these places that are written in Aramaic, you write them in Lashon HaKodesh. Umikra shektavot hagum. Or the opposite, you take a pasuk and you wrote it in Aramaic, uchtav ivrit. Or you have a beautiful pasuk written in Lashon HaKodesh that isn't Lashon HaKodesh, but you wrote it in the old script. That old script that we learned about yesterday, Ivrit, right? That was ancient script. You're allowed to save them. That for sure you're allowed to do, because those are actually written in that way. The Gemara says, what do you mean Targum Shabbat Torah? What is that? Where does it say Targum Shabbat Torah? My nihu, Yigas Aduta. So now, what do you see over here? He says, it says there that these passages, even in the Torah, that are written in Aramaic, since that's the way the Torah wrote them, you could save them. Really? So you could save a cloth that had the Torah written on it and said, Yigas Aduta, that's enough. How many letters are on that? 8, not 85. So you see clearly that you're allowed to save it. So Rav Nachman said, Kitanya ahi lahashlim. No, what it meant over there was like this: that if you have 70, how do you spell Saduta? Sin, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 letters there. Okay? So if you have, for example, 74 letters. Sorry, 76 letters in the Torah, scattered here, there. Now I need 9 letters. I'm looking for 9 letters to see if I could. I want to know if there's a chas v'shalom, there's a fire, if I can save this. So I go through, and everything's erased, and I find, oh, look at that, Yigar Saduta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. 85. So now, with you guys Haduta, I have 85 letters. So that, you're allowed to save. But it doesn't mean Yigas Haduta alone by itself. Of course, meaning to say, Nachman is asserting that what he said before was correct, that you need 85 letters. And this Braita is just teaching that the part of the 85 letters could be Yigas Hadut, that's all. Iba'iluhu, the Gemara asked the question, Hani shmeini v'chamish otiyot, b'chunasot u'mfuzarot. I already made it sound like it's mufuzar. The Gemara is really asking, do they have to all be together, the 85 letters? Like in one section? Or they can be scattered throughout the Sefer Torah. Rav Huna Amar b'chunasot. Again, we have Rav Huna and Rav Chizda. Rav Chizda Omar afilu mifuzarot. Rav Chizda says even scattered. Meitevei. So the Gemara says they have a kasha from a Braita. It says Sefer Torah Shebala Im yesh v'lalaket shmeini v'chamish otiyot k'gom parashat Vahi ben Zoharon matzilin v'imlav ein matzilin. What does it mean im yesh bo lilaket? Do you have to do Rav Huna? It says if you're able to gather all together from the whole Torah, 85, like the Pasha, Vahi ben Zoharon, you're good. Which means that even if they're not together, you gather them all together, and the sum total is 85, you're okay. So the Gemara answers, Tigim Rav Chizda ali b'd Rav Huna b'tevot. This is beautiful. Rav Chizda said, no, that's not a kasha on Rav Huna that's arguing with me. He came to the answer. Because they're looking for the truth, they're not looking to win. So he said, that's not a kasha on Rav Huna, even though I don't agree with him, and this price would help me. He came to answer it, and he said, it's b'tevot. It means that you're gathering words. What does that mean, you're gathering words? It doesn't mean that you find letters over here, letter there, letter there. It means words are scattered throughout the Torah. So that, even Rav Huna is modeh, that's okay. The question is, let's say you don't have words. Okay? So, happens to be, that's a very kasha. Okay, let's go back. So now the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, Vahi ben Zoharon vayom Moshe. This parsha, Vahi ben Zoharon, that every time that Aaron traveled, Moshe would say, Kuma Hashem v'yafutzu oyevecha v'yanusu misanecha mipanecha. Let the enemies flee before you. Parasha zu asal HaKadosh Baruch Hu simaniyot milmala ulamata. This parasha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made signs for it. Okay? Now, the signs that we have in our Sefer Torah, they date back all the way to many Kadmonim, all the way back to Rav Hai Goyin. They bring down here that there were many, the Marshal actually was very against the backwards nun. But that's our Torah, all the way back to Rav Hai Goyin, that we put the backwards nun. That's what the Gemara means. The Gemara doesn't say backward nuns. That's our minhag, that's our Masorah, that's what it was. Hand it down, right? Okay, fine. Lomar, what's the point? Why did Hashem put these signs, these brackets, these backwards brackets, these nuns, on each side of Vahi ben Zoharon? Lomar, to teach us, she'ein zu mikoma, that this is not really its proper place. Because when HaKadosh Baruch Hu described the formation and the camping, the way that they marched along with HaKadosh Baruch Hu when he wanted them to travel, was all the way back in Bamidbar. All the way back in Bamidbar, the beginning of Bamidbar, the first parsha. It speaks about Degal Machane Reuven, Reuven Yehud are here, right? Have all the Yisachar Zvulun, Yehuda Yisachar Zvulun, Reuven Shimon Gad, right? So, was it Binyamin, Ephraim, Binyamin, Menashe? then Naphtali and Asher were on the north. So there is where the Torah should have written Vayi ben Sa'arin. Shein ze mekoyma. And therefore, so this is not its place. Okay, fine. That's the reason why you have these like special simanim. To tell you that they're placed over here, it's not really its place that it belongs. Now, we'll see what the reason is exactly why it was placed over here. But that's the purpose of these things. Not anything else, according to the Tanna Kama. Rabbi Omer, they bring down Rabbi Bechaya that says, why backwards nuns? Because nun is 50, and if you go backwards, you put the nun backwards, which means go back, and go in reverse. 50 different parshiyot like till you get to a space, a samach, pei, go back 50 sections, and you'll get to the place where this should have been written. So Rabbeinu Bechaya says. They ask Kashis, that's really only 49, and they say an unbelievable thing. Is that a Chumash? Is that an English Chumash right there? On the top. Oh yeah, thank you. Okay. See this pasuk here? It talks about Gershon, Kahat, and Merarim, Pashat Ba'alotcha. It says they travel over here. And then Reuven was on that side. And then Eliasaph and Deuel. And then it goes back to the Kahasim that they carried the mixture. So in the old Sefer Torah, there was a parsha here. There was a space. We don't have that. So, according to that, that's mamish right before the backwards nuns. That is a 50th one, according to some Torah. Okay. Anyways, Bezat Hashem, Mashiach will come, and all these things will be clarified. Loi min Hashem huzem. Rebbe says, no, that's not the reason why the signs appear, because it's not in the right place. Rather, it's trying to separate it, to tell you that it's not just a few ordinary psukim, not just a few psukim, but it's a whole sefer by itself. It's separated. Okay? Fine. So now that's how you get to 7 Sfarim. We'll see in a second. Keman azahad amar b'shuma barach ben amar b'yonatan. Chatzva amudei shiva. Elu shiva sifrei Torah. Keman kerebi. The pasuk there says that chatzva amudei shiva. She chaytzev, it means to like hew out the stones. 7 pillars. What is that? The 7 Sifrei Torah, the 7 books of the Torah. Kiman, who's that going? Like Rebbe. Because according to Rebbe, it's its own Sefer. So everything before that in Bamidbar is a Sefer. It is a Sefer. Everything after in Bamidbar is a Sefer. So the whole Bamidbar is comprised of really 3 Svarim. Before, it, and after. And then you have the other 3, then you have that's 3. Then you have the other 4 Svarim, Bereshit, Shemot, Vayikra, and the Varim. So it's 7 altogether. So the Gemara says, who is the Tanna Kama? Mantana de Polagoleo de Rebbe. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who the Tanya, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Omer, Hasido Parasha Zu Sheteyoker, Mikan Vitikatev Bimkomam. This Parsha is going to one day be uprooted and be put in its right place. Vilama Katvakan. Why was it written here? In order to separate between the first Puranut, tragedies, punishments, to the second one. So the Gemara says, Puranut Shniya Maihi, Vayhi Ha'am Kimit Onenim, Puranut Rishona is what? Vayisu Mehar Hashem. V'amar Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Chanina, Shesoru Me'achre Hashem, V'hechad Mekoimo, Amar Ravashi B'dgolim. Which means that there were two sins that they did. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to separate the sins, so it shouldn't be so bad for Klal Yisrael. One was the Safsuf, Asher B'Kibo, his Savut Ta'ava, that they became very full of desires. And that was right after Vayisu Mehar Hashem, right after they left. Right after they left the Har Hashem. And then what happened was they had the mitonenim, right? And they asked for food. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent them all the quail, and then he killed many of them while they were eating it. There was also the other ones that just complained about their whole status. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent a fire to consume those people. So between one and the other, really what happened was HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to separate it, and even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts the first one that happened the eating one that happened right after Har Sinai, puts it second, and it interrupts the two stories that shouldn't be so bad. Two stories back to back that the Yidden sin with Vayhi ben Soha Aron. Okay? So and where does it really belong? Says the Gemara. Rashi says it really belongs by the Galim, like I told you before. It belongs by the Galim, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sets up all the formations and the flags of Klal Yisrael around the Mishkan when they travel. That's where it should have said Vayhi ben Sohar. The Gemara asks a question. May we save the margins of a Sefer Torah because of a fire or not? Okay?
These are the reasons why we can't save something then, is because if it's written with Kedusha or it's written in a certain way, I mean, that's the reason why you shouldn't.
We want to know, if it has the Kedusha of a Sefer, that we'll be able to even save it and be over and violate Isuri de Rabbanon. Okay? That has to have a special sanctity to it. So we want to know what makes the cut, exactly. So the Gemara's question now is about the margins, the white part of a Sefer Torah. Nothing written on it. Are you allowed to save it? That's all you have. You don't have the letters. Or the klaf, yeah.
With nothing written on it.
Which means either you have like the parts of a Sefer Torah that were cut off of a Sefer Torah. You already had the Kedusha of Sefer Torah, the whole thing. And then there was cut off. So now you have margins at home. White blank pieces. Or it wasn't cut off, but all the letters got erased. So now all you're left with is white klaf. But it had Kedusha Sefer Torah. So could you save it? So Toshima, the Gemara brings a proof. Sefer Torah Shabbat, im yesh v'lelaket 85 otiyot, kegon Parashat Vayhi ben Sohar Matzilin. We had the Braita that said if you could gather 85 letters together, you could save it. V'im lav ein Matzilin. V'amai tepei le'mishum gilin didei. Why do you have to find 85 letters? Why does the Braita say you have to find 85 letters? Forget the 85 letters. I already have the Gilyon. I have the margin. If you would say it, the margin is so holy since it was from a Sefer Torah, and that itself is enough. So why do you need 85 letters? Obviously, if you need to find 85 letters, you need letters. You need a chumash. You need a sefer. Margin is not enough, so you can't save it. So the Gemara says no. Bolo shani. Okay? That is talking about Bala. What does it say? Sefer Torah Shebala. Bala means it got so worn out. So then even the margins, the klaf, loses its kedusha. You know why? Because it's all worn out. So presumably the margins, the gilyonot, are also worn out. So it lost its kedusha. But we want to know if, let's say, it's not worn out at all. It's a fresh Sefer Torah. It might have been written last week. But for whatever reason, let's say the Sefer decided he doesn't like what he wrote. He's rewriting it again. The guy told him, if you write it again, well, the truth is you're not allowed to erase it. Stamp, for no reason. But it got erased. For whatever reason, it did. But it's fresh. So maybe now the Gilyon has enough Kedusha to be saved even without 85 letters. Meaning, 85 letters is only when it's totally worn out. So then if you can gather 85 letters, it's good enough. But if it's not worn out, maybe the Gilyon itself is enough to save it. So the Gemara says, Toshima, let's bring a proof. Sefer Torah shenimchak, not bala. It was only erased. Im yesh v'lelakesh shumayne v'chamesh otiyot, kigon parashat vahi ben Soharon, matzilin. V'im lav ein matzilin. V'amai, tebele b'shum Gilyon didei. Now you can't start telling me the answer that we said before, that it's bala. It's not bala, it was only nimchak. So why do you need 85 letters? Save it because of the Gilyon itself. So the Gemara says, "Mekoi maksav lo yikumi bailei." The chikodosh agav ksav hu dekodosh. Ozo ksav azo lo kedushosei. There says the Gemara. That the ktav gives what's underneath the writing of the Sefer Torah, the margin. So that margin, it's not the margin, it's the klaf. The margin is the sides. But the gilyon, the white, where does it get its kedusha from? From the letters. That's what makes it kaddish. So what gives it kedusha is the letters. So if the letters go, it doesn't have its own independent kedusha. It's kadosh agav the letters, agav the ktav. So once the ktav goes, so the kedusha of the letter of the parchment also goes. That's why over there you need to find 85 letters, because all the rest of the white that's erased in the Torah also lost its kedusha. So you got to find the actual letters. What I'm looking for, says the Gemara, what I'm asking about is the parts above the letters, beneath the letters, between one part and the next, and between one column and the next column, the right and the left, in between each one. Which oh. Thank you. Okay. Sure that has it? I don't know if that has it.
No. Sorry, just one column. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
So,
number 3 though. 3. Oh, it's 4 already?
Okay, thank you. I just left you. How are you? Yeah, I'm not right.
okay. So, so by the way, what does it mean, the beginning of the Sefer Torah, that it says, Shebetchilat ha-sefer, shebesof ha-sefer? Because the halacha is that before you write Bereshit, you have to have enough gilyon, enough margin to wrap around the pole, the Eitz Chaim that they wrote it on. And at the end of Zot HaBracha, all the way at the end, you have to have enough to be able to wind around the entire Sefer Torah. So that's what it means. That is with the question that we have. We want to know if that itself has enough kedusha. So the Gemara says, v'tepek mishum hahu, which means, what's the question? The Gemara is saying that the area of the Makim Aksav is going to need 85 letters.
I'm sorry, the what? 85 letters is what?
85 letters is the amount of letters written in the smallest book of the Torah. Because
You're talking about on the Sefer Torah?
yeah, because Vahi bin Aaron is a whole book. So when you speak about the sanctity of the letters, it's 85 letters. Okay? So the Gemara says, V'tepekle mishumahu. So the Gemara says, I don't understand you. What's your whole answer to this raya? What was the Gemara's proof? What was the Gemara's rebuttal to the proof? The Gemara said that we have a braita that says if it was erased, you have to be able to find 85 letters. So we said, so you see, you need letters. So the Gemara says, no. That's because you don't have because the parchment underneath the letters loses its kedusha. But our question is about all the other klaf that never gets letters, so it has its own independent kedusha. So really? So then why does the Braita say that if it got erased, you have to find 85 letters? Every time it gets erased, forget the 85 letters, and save it in the fire, because every Sefer Torah has all the side margins. So the Gemara says, the guy is Ushodi. We're talking about a case, the Braita is speaking about a case, where you threw away the margins.
How do you throw away the margins?
Okay? All you had, someone needed them, whatever, you cut them all out. All you had was the actual parts that the Sefer Torah was written on. And everything was erased. And it wasn't worn out. It wasn't bala. So therefore I don't have a proof. I don't have any raya about the margins, because there was no margins. Frek the Rashba comes along the Rashba and he says, 1 second. But there's still, forget about the part underneath the letters, the part in between each letter and underneath each line. So the Rashba says that also only has kedusha from the letters. Why? Because the point of the I don't know, I keep saying margin. The point of the cloth of the parchment between the letters and beneath the letters in between each line is there for the beauty of the letter. So it's all about the letter. So it's again dependent on the kedusha of the letter, says the Rashba. It's very negeya. It's different than the kedusha of the sides and in between each column, which the Gemara still has a shaila, that maybe that has its own kedusha, and you can't bring a raya for this braita, because this braita might be speaking about a case where there was no such a thing because you cut them out. If we don't have a raya. Yes?
So I was going to ask you, I don't know anything about the 85 letters. Can you elaborate on that?
Basically, the kedusha of a Sefer Torah is intact as long as there's 85 letters left over, even if everything got erased besides 85 letters.
85 letters, I'll be talking. Is it, you know them?
No, well, the Gemara had a shaila for, sounds like any scattered 85 letters. Anywhere. Yeah.
Wow. It's good that you're speaking about this, because my brother was just talking about it last week. He said, Bereshit, it stands for Shabbat, and I was first why he went so deep. So much thought that he calls me a tongue. Give me a Hiddushim. Really nice.
Beautiful. Let's give out. I just want to finish the daf.
Yes.
I want to hear exactly what you're telling me right after the daf. Toshima. Let's bring a rayo. Haguyonim. של מעלה ושל מטה שבפרשה לשמי דף לדף שבתחיל הספר שבסעיף הספר מטעם מנס היודעים. We already learned at the beginning of Shabbat, Daf Yud Chet. We'll never forget those shiurim over there. Motzei Shabbat, right outside over here. It was one of the most geschmackes shiurim. That sugya was the most geschmackes sugya in Shabbat. I don't know, for us, we had a very good time, remember? With all the tumot that they were geyser. Took a few days. Very geschmack. So, a person that touches svarim, holy scriptures, we're not going to get into that right now. It's because they didn't want people to hide them together with the truma, because they used to get eaten by the mice, so they wanted to separate them from the other holy things from the truma. The truma shouldn't be hidden by the Sefer Torah, and so they made it tamei. If you touch it, your hands are tamei. Holy scrolls. They said that even these parts are tamei. You don't have to touch the part that has the written part. Even all these parts.
The suffering, we're talking about regular people.
Anybody. So therefore, you see that your hands become tamei. So you see it has kedusha. So the Gemara says no. Dilma agav sefer Torah shani. Maybe it's different. Maybe that's only if it was written with a sefer Torah. Okay. Our shaila in our Gemara is not when you have a whole sefer. Okay, when you have a whole sefer Torah written, beautiful sefer Torah written over here. It's all kadosh, kadosh. Everybody. This you show it. It's a beautiful sefer Torah over there. So then, of course, it has kedusha, and therefore, if you touch it, you're tamei. But you don't have a proof. We want to know if all that's left, everything was erased. It wasn't bala, it wasn't worn out, but everything was erased.
How?
However, so the Gemara says, Toshima, Hagiyonin v'sifrei minin ematilin otan b'bdlei adleka. All the gilyonin, okay, that's us, v'sifrei minin, and books written by the heretics, by the apikorsim. Okay, ematilin otan b'bdlei adleka. Basically, these people served idol. They believed in idolatry, and they wrote svarim. They wrote holy books, but it was written by a bad person.
But the holy books.
So, you're not allowed to save them in the fire. You let them burn them and the names of Hashem in them. My love, Gilyon in the Sefer Torah. Now, one of the cases was the Gilyon. So you see, it's the Gilyon of the Sefer Torah. So the Gemara says, "Lo Gilyon in the Sefer Minin." It means the parchment of the Sefer Minin. So the Gemara says, 1 second. It's pasha that it can't be talking about the Gilyon of the Sefer Minin because the Breita said that the Sefer Minin themselves don't get saved. Hash the Sefer Minin gufayu matzilin Gilyonim iboyi. Of course. So obviously the Gilyonim must be talking about the Gilyon of the Sefer Torah, of the Svarim Aktosh. It says the Gemara as a teretach. The Sefer Minin harein ke Gilyonim. It's just saying like this. The Sifrei Minin are like their Gilyonim, are like their side, which means there's nothing to them. All the names of Hashem, all the psukim of the Torah, they can write the nicest Sefer Torah you ever saw in your life. Better than any sofer. All of the written stuff is exactly like blank pieces of parchment that nothing was ever written on, which obviously doesn't have any Kedusha Sefer Torah. Fine. By the way, when we asked, so if we still don't have a teretz, when we asked about the Gilyonim, we don't just mean that it's destined to have a Sefer Torah written on you or Mekadosh it. It means it was already Sefer Torah written, but it was erased. So then maybe its Kedusha is, obviously because of the letters, but not, it's still independent, possibly. Right? It's not the letters itself giving, it's the fact that it was a Sefer Torah. Obviously what makes it Sefer Torah is you have to write letters. But its sanctity is still maybe independent. So we don't know yet.
Like it's safer. In English it sounds so good.
Exactly.
It's safer, it's safe.
Exactly.
That sounds good. You think about it, but what you say.
That's what happens when you put a Torah into a locked aron. What do you get if you put a Torah into a locked aron? You get a Sefer Torah. Gufa. Before breakfast, the jokes come out very corny. Okay?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's Kedusha place. No.
It's like having, because you missed the corn pops. You get it? It's another one. Gufa. Hagilyonim v'stifrei minim. Ematzil no yisomim pnei ad leiko. Rabbi Yossi oimer. B'choil kodesh hazkor shebehen going to the Vashar Sefer. Okay, now we're going to go through the whole Breita over here. The Breita says like this.
What's a Breita mean?
The Breita are the teachings of the Tanoim that weren't mentioned in the Mishnah.
Oh, Beoraita.
Is
that what you mean?
It really means Baraita means outside. Because they weren't mentioned in the Mishnah.
There's Beoraita, there's also the other one, I forgot the name.
ברייתא, לא דאורייתא.
מה זה? Beoraita, נכון.
אומנם ברייתא.
Braita, סליחה.
ברייתא.
Okay, it sounds like Beoraita. Like the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear. I'm not sure, maybe there's a connection, I don't know. Hagilyonim v'stifrei minim ematzilin otam b'pnei adleka. Okay, this is the whole Breita in its entirety. The Gilyonim and the Stifrei Minim, you don't save them. Rabbi Yossi says, not so fast. What you do in the weekday, cut out the holy names,
Oh, the Hashem, right? And
put them in Geniza, the rest of it you burn.
Wow.
Omer Ab Tarfin. Akapachet banai. He said, I will bury my sons. Let my sons be buried in my lifetime, he said. Wow. If they get to my hand, I will burn them. Which means that when he wrote the name, what do you think he's thinking about? He's Avodah Zarah. Or he's for sure not thinking about the Kedusha of Hashem Yisbarach, because he doesn't have those thoughts of a Kedusha of Hashem Yisbarach. And therefore it's a mitzvah to burn them, so you shouldn't leave over anything that such terrible people write. Like Yimach Shemam V'Zichram. You want to destroy any remembrance of what they ever did in this world.
But they wrote the Sefer Torah.
But it doesn't have Kedusha.
It doesn't have Kedusha because it was written by...
The Nochash Rotz Akisha, even if someone was running after him, he didn't want to speak about himself. You know, like you speak about someone else. You don't say about yourself. But he meant himself. Even if someone's running after, pursuing him to kill him, or a snake is running after him to bite him, Nichlas Beis Avodah Zarah, he would rather enter a church, and he wouldn't walk in to these houses of these Jewish sectarians. She'alolu makirin v'koifrin, because they know about Hashem, but they deny Him. But the Goyim, they're unaware. And that's why they deny Hashem. Because they were brought up by their parents who never taught them. But these Jews, they were brought up in Cheder. They went to the Jewish school, they heard about HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Moshe Yitziat Mitzrayim, Avram Avinu, Yitzchak. And now they go ahead and they make some sort of church, whatever it is, of idolatrous beliefs. So he said there's absolutely no Kedusha, and you have to burn them. And the Pasuk in Yeshaya says that you know about me, but you put my remembrance behind the door. You don't care. Of course you have to burn them, because in order to make peace between husband and wife, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, my name, which was written in holiness from the Torah, right? A pasuk in the Torah should be erased in the water. These people who arouse jealousy, competition, and hatred amongst Klal Yisrael and their father, how much more so should we erase this? V'aleim Amar David, and David says, those people who hate you, I will hate. And for those who stand up against you, I will quarrel with. The epitome of hatred, I will hate them.
Really? Are we allowed to hate people? We're not.
As I state in the pasuk in David HaMelech. So you see that's what you do. Now, what does it mean to hate them? You could say all these nice drashot. The Americans love to hear them. Of course, you have to interpret these psukim. You're not allowed to hate anybody. You're not allowed to hate any Jew, even the worst Jew. You have to love him to pieces. Just, you have to hate their actions. I'm not so sure. That's on a regular Jew that does averot. And he's ignorant and he's not keeping Torah. That's for sure true, that you can't hate anybody. But there are people that fight Hashem. That's these people. David HaMelech says, Tachlis sinas sinesim. He says, the utmost hatred, I hate them. And I regard them as my own enemies. Why? Because they hate Hashem, so Hashem hates them. There is another pasuk that says, Oyavei Hashem sinu ra. Who's beloved by Hashem? Those who hate bad. So that one you could say they hate the bad deeds. But here it's speaking about people. David HaMelech hates them.
Are we talking about Yidden or non-Jews? We don't know.
No, we're talking about Yidden.
Really?
Sadly, there are Jews even today.
I can't hate a Jew. There's no way. I don't care what he did to me. I can't. And I went through a lot. Trust me. I can't. It's just not in my religion. I'm sorry, not the word, but I didn't grow up like that. That's the first thing they taught us in Talmud Torah. How to love the next door neighbor, and how to love your brother, everybody. That's the.
I agree with you. So how do you interpret this Gemara? So I'll say a little thing like this. Just the story is like this. Really, 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 if you're like David HaMelech, then you know you could hate someone also.
David HaMelech is a big kid.
But since we're not David HaMelech, when we're going to hate the guy, we're not going to hate him because we feel the affront to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because we're not so close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because 5 minutes before we talk Lashon Hara, 5 minutes later we're doing this. So you don't care about HaKadosh. If you care about HaKadosh Baruch Hu that much, if you're David HaMelech and you hate them, then you can hate them. But I think that for a regular person today, it's hard to, you have to be a tzaddik to know how to hate.
Can I say something to you before you...
Please.
Okay, so what's the opposite of soneh is noseh, nes. You make out of hate, you make a miracle, so you like everybody.
You elevate them. Yes. Excellent. I want to finish some blat. You ready? So we're moving, let's go. So the heilige Gemara, Shem Shematzil Noisam Betead Leiko, Kachem Atzili Noison, Loi Min HaMapoiles, V'loi Min HaMayim, V'loi Midovor HaMe'abedon. And just like you're not allowed to save them from a fire, you're also not allowed to save them when a building falls on them, and not from the water, and not from anything that ruins them.
Wow.
Which means that even according to Rabbi Yossi, that you have to cut out the shemos, that's only, you have to cut the shemos so that they don't get ruined before you burn the rest of them.
Right.
But if something happens, even Rabbi Yossi is moide, that you let them be destroyed if something happens to them, and you let even their names be destroyed. Okay? According to Reb Tarfon, you don't have to say that you don't save them from a fire on Shabbat. Because according to Reb Tarfon, even during the weekday, you take them and burn them in a fire. You have to say you don't have to save them from a fire. Okay? This is even according to Reb Yossi. Okay. Now, Bo'amine Yossi b'achonim Reb Avo. Hanisifri de Be'avidon, Matzilin Esem de Rebbeika Ei Matzilin. The books of Be'avidon, the house of Avidon, could you save them or could you not save them?
Who's Avidon?
So what are these books? The books, the place, they used to have debates in this place called Be'avidon. Now they used to write books for the people to be able to use the psukim to debate over there. The question is, who wrote these books? Were these books written by real heretics? No, thank you. Heretics or by just philosophers? And they're not that bad. That's really the shayla. So the Gemara, even the Lav Rafi B'Diyoda, he was saying no, yes, no, and it was weak in his hand. He didn't have a solid answer that he was able to come up with. So Rav Le'ozah L'Bei Avidim V'choshken L'Bei Nitzrifi. Rav would not go to the debates in Bei Avidon, and certainly not to the ones in Bei Nitzrifi, because that was a church. There was a place for idols. Shmuel L'Bei Nitzrifi Le'ozah. Shmuel didn't go to the Bei Nitzrifi, but L'Bei Avidon Ozil. But he did go to Bei Avidon. He went to Bei Avidon because it wasn't a place of idols. It was a place that everybody gathered together. It wasn't a place that they served any idols. So Shmuel said, I can go. Rav didn't want to go because people would get so angry over there in their debates that they're in danger of getting killed. So he held it with sakanat nefashot. My time also to Bei Avidon. Why don't you go to debate with us? There's a certain tree over there on the way, and the roots from the tree make the place very uneven. So they said, ni akre. Okay, we'll pull it out. He says, duchte kshili. But the place where we used to stand is going to be very hard for me, because there's going to be a hole there now. So he said, Rashi says another pshat is that he was really giving an excuse. He didn't want to go there because he feared for his life, and he was really saying, the smell bothers me over there. He was just trying to get out of it. He did not want to go there because it could cost him his life. I just heard a great story. There's the Karlsberger Rav. The Karlsberger Rav is Reb Chatzko Rot. He's the biggest Hasidic Pesach today in New York.
his name?
Reb Chatzko Roth from Satmar. So he was on the side of. I should say this not on the thing. All right, I'll say it. He didn't believe in the whole that the Corona you have to shut down all the shuls and everything right away. And he said, "What do you mean? You have a responsibility down with a minyan, so you do it in a safe way." And he didn't go for this whole thing. But all these Hatzalah members and people and doctors, and they all came to him saying he has to sign. You have got to sign. It's like the worst thing to close down every shul. It's a big mitzvah to close down shuls.
They said that?
So they came to him and they said, you have to sign. And he was trying to get out of it. He didn't want to directly oppose them and start having a whole debate with them. I don't know if he was worried they're going to kill him, but he wasn't in the mood, just like Rava wasn't. So he said, he said, no, who's going to listen to my psak, my signature? So I signed. And people are going to listen? No one listens. They said, what are you talking about? You're the biggest signature in the Chassidish Welt. Whatever you sign, everyone listens. We listen to every word you write. When you sign something, he's like, nah, no one's going to listen. He's like, I'm telling you, your signature, everyone listens to. He's like, you serious? Whatever I sign, people just listen? They said, 100%, please. He's like, okay, fine. So bring me a paper now. So I'm going to sign now. I'm going to write a letter here. It's going to say that all your cell phones now that are on your pants, that have internet, because this is what I hold, by the way, they're 100% not kosher to have.
Of course, they're not kosher.
You can't have internet phones. That's what I hold, the Torah holds. And I'm going to sign my name. And you're all going to get rid of your cell phones right now because you all listen to whatever I sign, right?
Wow.
They're like,
everybody's shook.
It's like, oh, so you don't listen to my signature? So why should I sign this? Good story? Just happened.
Wow, what a story.
2 months ago, the beginning of Corona. It's like, leave me alone.
That's a beautiful story, man.
Yeah, it's a good one. Marba Yosef Omar. Okay? Marba Yosef says, I'm on good terms with them. And I'm not scared of them. One time Marba Yosef went and he thought he was good buddies with them and he wasn't scared and they endangered his life and his life was in danger. The Gemara brings a story. Everybody knows this famous thing. Ima Sholem was the wife of Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer's wife's name was Ima Shalom. You like that name?
Mother of peace.
Yeah.
Mother of peace.
Mother of peace. She was the sister of Rabban Gamliel. There was a philosopher over there who was a sectarian. He was an idolatrous guy in the neighborhood. And he was known as a person that, you went to him to speak to him, he wouldn't take shochad. He had a reputation, a very good reputation. He doesn't take bribes. People want to get judged. But Rabbi Gamliel and his sister, they wanted to expose him. And they wanted to make fun of him. Because it's a mitzvah to make fun of such people, to show that they're full of baloney. And they're full of it. And they're liars. They're not upstanding individuals. So she said, I want you to judge a case with me and somebody. She secretly gave him like a golden lamp as a bribe. She said, she said, I want a portion to inherit from my father's estate. Divide it, you should get a portion. Rabbi Gamliel said, in the Torah it says, wherever there's a son, a daughter doesn't inherit. Look, from the day that you've been exiled from your land, we don't work with the book of Moses anymore. That's nice for the land of Israel in the old days. But now we have the New Testament. What does it say over there? A son and a daughter divide equally. It's the new law of the land over here. So, therefore, we're not going to go like that. We're going to go with your sister. We're going to give her half the land. The next day, The next day, Rabbi Gamliel brought him a very fancy donkey. It was very strong. It was a Luvian donkey. Amalahu, they came back, and they wanted a final. So Shapilis the Sefer the Chosavi. The judge said, "Listen, I found in the end of the book, it's written of the Anola the Mifchas min Reisa the Moshe Asisi of the Oisa Reisa the Moshe Asisi. I'm not really here to detract or to subtract, to detract or to add anything to the book of Moses. Therefore, so therefore, and in the book of Moshe Rabbeinu, it says that in the place of a son, a daughter doesn't inherit anything. So the truth is, I really have to go with the book of Moshe Rabbeinu, and you shouldn't get anything. Now he has to satisfy Rabbi Gamliel. So Amr Leshi said to him, let your light shine like a lamp. And Amr Gamliel said to him, also Chamru Bata Shashaga. No, the donkey came and kicked over the lamp. Okay, meaning to say that my bribe was greater than your bribe. It was more expensive. So I win, and all the people that were in the court saw, and they're like, what lamp? What are you talking about? What donkey kicked over? Ah, and they're laughing. So they exposed him. Cute, great story, right?
Well, you got some stories in this Gemara.
Let's go a little. I want to go a little weiter, if everybody has the time, yeah? Just to get to the Mishnah. You have 5 more minutes?
Yeah. What time is Shachar over here, by the way? 8. 8.
Now, the Mishnah said at the beginning of the Mishnah that you're not allowed to read Ksuvim on Shabbat.
Because?
Why? Ktuvim. Root. Why not? Mishum bitul beit midrash. Because people would. When would they be able to learn Torah, the halachot, that the rabbi would speak for hours, teach them? On Shabbat. They didn't have time during the week, many people. Whatever they were able to do, they did. The morning and night, a little bit. This is the day Shabbat was designated. Shabbat was the holiness. It was made for Torah. But if a person gets engaged in a very engaging story of Ruth or of Shirashim or anything, of the Ktuvim, which is what they read the Kohen Gadol on the night of Yom Kippur, he might not come. So therefore they said you can't read it. So the Gemara says, how far did they go? It's only at the time that before they have the meal, when they gave the shiur in the Beit HaMidrash. But at a time that they weren't in the Beit HaMidrash, you're allowed to read after the meal on Shabbat. There was no lecture. Why not? Because he used to drink wine. And the halacha is that the Rav is not allowed to give a psak after he drinks wine. So all the halachot that he said were before the meal. So after the meal, you're allowed to read Ktuvim. They made the enactment, this decree, even at all times of the day. Is that so? Nado was the city of Shmuel. And in Nado, they would read a perek of Ktuvim during Shabbat Mincha.
Did you say Nardo?
Nardo, yeah.
Or
So rather, you have to say like this. It's only in the Beit HaMidrash, but at home you could. But everybody would agree that Bizman Beit HaMidrash ein Korin, Shelo Bizman Beit HaMidrash Korin. Okay? As the Shmuel Tamei, and Shmuel goes according to his reasoning, because in Ardo they would read the Piske de Sudra b'mechased de Shabso. Therefore, it's not a steer to what Shmuel said before, because even he held that after the day meal you're allowed to read it. Really, the way the Machlokes went was the way we said it at first. Shmuel went according to Reb Nechemia, which means the Tanya we learned in a Braito. Even though we said that you're not allowed to read them on Shabbos, but Shoinin v'dorshin b'hen. Shoinin b'hen v'dorshin b'hen. But you're allowed to learn all the halachot that come out of the psukim in Ktuvim. Like, let's say, Shalat ish na'alo. You learn at Kinyan Chalipin. You can learn all the Gemaras from Bava Metzia that learned out from Boaz and Ruth. And all the halachot that we learn out from everywhere. V'dorshin, you could expound. Nitzach lepasuk maybe v'royeboy. Or if you have to look at a pasuk for a reference, you could open it up and look at. Why did they say the Kisvei HaKodesh you cannot read? So that people should say, if we can't read holy, for sure we can't read ordinary documents. So therefore, the reason had nothing to do with what? Nothing to do with Bittul Beit HaMidrash, that people are not going to go. It had to do this so that people should not come to read Shtarei Hadyotis. And therefore, Shmuel said that really, the halacha is that you're not allowed to read them even after the day meal. And he was going according to Rabbi Nechemia. But what he told the people in the Nardor to do was to do what the roiv of the Shittas hold, not like a Nechemia, which is that the reason is only because of Bittul Beit HaMikdash. And therefore, after they ate and drank wine, there's not going to be a shiur, they were allowed to read it. Chazak Baruch.
Chazak Baruch.